Hi everyone, right, we're going to talk about hooded eyes and how to shape your eyes if you have a hooded eye shape. Now, first of all, I must tell you that having hooded eyes is not a negative thing. It's just, oh, I've got hooded eyes. The most beautiful actresses, Jennifer Lawrence has hooded eyes. Taylor Swift, celebrated international music star, has hooded eyes. It's the shape of people's eyes. Asian eyes are hooded. So hooded eyes are basically where the lids of the eyes are smaller and the dominant part of the eye is the lid here. Now obviously as we age, this part can start to hang over our eyes, and I know that's frustrating because it makes us look a bit tired and our eyes aren't the same shape as they used to be. So I do understand that, but makeup is there to help us and feel more confident. Now you're going to have to use a little bit of artistic license because I don't have hooded eyes, but you need to follow my steps and you will be able to make a big difference when putting your makeup on. And I must tell you, it's not that tricky. We also have a scaffolding concert next door. Next door are taking down their scaffolding, so again, maybe just don't have your headphones on and the volume on too loud. Now what you will need is some eyelash curlers, some waterproof mascara and an off-white liner that's soft enough to go into your waterline. These are key products that we're going to be using for my amazing hooded eye tutorial. Right, what I have on my eyes right now is a little bit of the base that I've used. On my lips is the Shiseido gel balm that I used the other day. This shade is Tiger Lily. I just put a little bit of this on just simply because I looked really washed out otherwise. And I popped a little bit on my cheeks and I got the Christian Dior bronzer on. Like I say, I try to, you know, I am seriously genuine when I talk to you about the products that I love. So I obviously then have to be consistent with them. So some you see, some you don't. And I just need to make sure that I include all the colours, and my fabulous cheery nails, my neon pink is, funnily enough, Nails.inc Sun Street Passage. Okay, so we're going to start first because we're going to be using eyeshadow, not cream eyeshadow. And yes, of course you can use cream eyeshadow, but if you really want to sculpt and shape your eye, probably better to use a little bit of powder. Now I'm going to start with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer, okay? Potion. Now this comes with a little applicator and I'm putting it over the foundation that I already had on my eye. Well, let me just turn that off. So I'm going to put that all around the lid and then with a clean brush just blend it up into the socket. And this is going to help the shadows stay in place and help smooth out or help us get a really lovely blend to our eyeshadows. You don't need to wait for that to set or anything. I do like to set it with a little bit of powder. I'll go in again with my soft to touch favourite shadow, my By Terry. And I just use the same brush and just sweep that over. Now, when you're shaping your eyes, especially for hooded eyes, it's great to use matte eyeshadows. Now I'm going to show you maybe a couple of different methods that you can play with because there's not one rule for everything. I'm going to be using, as you can see, my much loved Charlotte Tilbury, the Sophisticate Palette. Now there are many eyeshadow palettes and I'm going to show you a couple of other ones too. This is great because it is absolutely matte. And you can see my favourite shade here, right? And it's great because it works on all skin colours. So for me as a makeup artist, that works brilliantly. And you can see that this sort of bony shade is great because it kind of is a little bit cooler, like this shade here. It's not too orangey, it's not too browny. It's all about sculpting. Now, the first and most simple way, maybe we should do that first. The first and most simple way to do your makeup if you have hooded eyes is to put the shadow all the way. Let's do this really simple. I'm going to do two different looks. Okay, so we're going in with the lightest shade and I'm going to wash this shade as I do classically with a lot of the eyeshadows that I place on my eye over the lid, and it's almost about sort of like 3 to 4 shades darker, isn't it, than my skin tone. That's what you want to aim for. Now, where the socket, if my eyes were hooded, is much lighter here, what you want to do is push that back very gently with the eyeshadow, okay? So one shade, what the mistake is that people make is they actually go in for a very solid cut crease, and this area here looks far too made up, and you can't put a dark line against a very, very protruding part of your eye because it won't knock it back enough. It has to be super blended. So place it on like this, and then you go in and you, if you did have a blending brush, of course, excuse me, you go in with the blending brush. This is a much firmer brush. This is Zoeva Grand, Luxe Grand shader. Go over that line and really push that away so that almost goes to nothing. So you can see that just disappearing. Now, go back again and push that in. So what you'll find is that the area that's really dominant on your face and that really bothers you, this part that hangs over, gets knocked back. That's what you're trying to do. You want to create and leave a little bit of light underneath your eyebrow, but this shade needs to be knocked back 2 or 3 shades. That is the most basic way that you can do a hooded eye, first of all. With hooded eyes, you need to make sure that you've really framed your brow. And when you frame your brow, mine are quite high in my eyebrows, in my forehead anyway, but try and create a little bit of a lift. Don't just draw your eyebrows as they are. If you can get away with it, just lift it on the outer corner and stretch out on the outside. Again, you want to create that lift here and then the darkness underneath. So I will now go in with this shade, again a nice cool shade, with the cotton bud. You know how much I love cotton buds because you can really compact the product into the cotton bud and push it under your eyelashes. Now I want you to take this shadow about sort of 4 to 5 millimeters underneath your lashes. Now that might seem a lot, but once you've blended it, I promise you, and I'll show you in a second, it will completely disappear. You take that underneath and you tuck it in right into the corner. We will do this on another level in a second, but this is just the first stage. So obviously that looks hard and unblended. Twist it around the other side, on the side, and just soften that line, and always pushing towards the direction of the lashes, okay? And just tuck it in to the outside of the eye there, so it connects. Take a little bit more, just literally, almost you can twist it in the middle of your eye there. You see that twisting action really just gives that little bit of indentation and plants the darkness there, rather than taking the darkness all the way across the line. Then you take your lovely Luxe blender and push, 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 so that it goes to nothing, and always underneath, push, push, push. So this is really, really, really soft. Now you might think this looks a little bit top heavy, but when I put the mascara on, you'll see, and especially if you have hooded eyes, what a difference that makes. Going to the next step, you might want to just use your blender and do this with the blender, tipping the brush, the tip of the brush into the blender, because that's where you're going to be pushing the colour into your eye, just to add a little bit more softness, very, very, very slightly. I want you to keep this on the outer quarter of your eye, not even third, the outer quarter of your eye, just so you get that softness. And then because you've applied it with that blender, we haven't done any socket, we've just kept it there. That gives a lovely illusion to the eye. Now, next step, take a lovely soft Kajal pencil. This is Max Factor. It's an automatic pencil, so you don't have to sharpen it, and the shade is beige. So you just, it literally comes off so quickly. And just plant this here, pull my eye down and go in. Now be very careful not to get the Kohl pencil on your lashes. on the roots of your lashes, because you'll find there and you go, oh no, I've got grey roots. That's what it looks like. So just try and keep that there. Now I do this before the mascara for that reason, that if I do make the mistake and I do transfer a little bit of the Kohl pencil onto my lashes, I can actually just go in and go over with the mascara. This is another trick, as you can see from the other side of my eye, that really opens out the eye. Now, you might have hooded eyes, but you might have big eyes. And if you've got big eyes that are hooded, then of course you can go in with lots of black and make them really intense. But if you're struggling with hooded eyes that are small, avoid using the black inside the waterline. Use the white, because that really opens out and brightens your eye. Remember, it's an off-white, not white. Now, next thing, let's go in with some eyelash curlers. Push that right into your socket. Make sure that the base goes right to your lash line. Move it around till you get a really nice curl. And then pull them out. And then always use your finger like this, just to reposition the lashes and go in for a second one. If you've got very stubborn lashes, you can use a hairdryer to warm up your eyelash curler. That's a very common thing we do at work. Obviously, just be super careful that you don't heat it up too much and then you burn your lid. Now that's really, really effective. Now, next tip, waterproof mascara. Waterproof mascara is really, really, really going to help your eyes, your lashes stay lifted for longer. I learned this from an Asian client, an Asian actress that I was working with, and she taught me about this trick years ago with mascara, and it makes such a difference. It really does. So this is Max Factor Divine Lashes in the waterproof. Now, it takes a while for the coats to build up, but look how soft and natural they look. I know for some people this this isn't natural. You know, I like a mascara that really shows, whereas I might put that on someone else. They go, oh my God, how much mascara is that? I've learned to gauge how much mascara different people like now. We're not all the same, are we? But that's the kind of effect of mascara I like. Now, we've got the lift, we've got the shape, but then you need to bring the lashes down. This is really important with hooded eyes, okay? Because what we're trying to do is increase the surface area of your eye by taking, look how soft that shadow looks now underneath. It's amazing, isn't it? Because it's just powder, and it will after time slightly dissolve into the foundation or concealer you've got under your eye. So it kind of gives this illusion of a soft natural shadow under your eye. If you did that hard line with Kohl pencil, unless it was really, really soft, but then it's got a tendency to crease, it would look a bit hard and it would close up the eye. But because it's super, super soft, you get away with it just opening out your eye. So just a little bit more on the center lashes. And that, my darlings, is the easiest way to shape a hooded eye in the most softest, most natural way. Now on the other side, I will show you how to do it. Of course, you don't have to use browns. I could have used greens, purples, lilacs, and in September, if you'd like me to do different colour dyes for hooded eyes in this kind of way, then I can do that too, of course. I'm just sort of trying to show you with just like the basics first. Let's master the basics and then we can go on. So if you want to kind of step it up from there, what we can do is do a little bit more of a polished eyeshadow. So I'm going in with the lightest shade here. First of all, so it's like a light bone to really enhance this area first. So remember, I went in with a warmer shade first just to kind of create that illusion and knock back that intensity. Then I'm going to go in with my favourite light colour and blend that across into that shade. So really taking it on the outside but keeping it very soft, because this is the area, this outside area is what we need to push back. But I wanted to enhance the inner corner by putting on that lighter colour. Now, because we're going to graduate the colour, with the tip of the same brush, I'm going to go underneath just nice and soft. I don't necessarily need to use the cotton bud for this because it's a lovely soft wash. So if it spreads a little bit more, it doesn't matter so much. So essentially the pattern is the same. It's just the colours and the graduation. And it's all working on the outside of the eye to really push this area back. So you can see how much I've taken it under that, and this is key. If you've never ever done this before, please try this at home. Even if you just put a little bit of concealer over the top lid, if you think I really can't be bothered, Caroline, and you knock back this bright white area or lighter area, depending what your skin tone is, to push it back so it's not so dominant, and do this lovely wash underneath with lots of mascara. You don't get the magic until you put the mascara on. It always looks a bit like you've got sort of baldy eyes. Then you put the mascara on and then the shape and everything all comes together, trust me. So we've done the 2 shades here. Now, because I want that real impact, I'm going to go in with the darkest shade here with the cotton bud. So a slightly different technique, but it's just where I'm placing the colour. So really push it in. Now, if you've got wrinkly eyes like me or skin that moves on your eyes, you'll need to just pay a little bit of attention just to make sure you've got a smooth application of eyeshadow. Now that will come when you've blended it, remember, so don't worry too much, but just try and put enough in a kind of dense placement of your eye without it traveling too far, because the key to pushing this eye back and to opening out your hooded eyes is just to kind of have the darkness on the outside. You can then go, of course, in with Kohl pencil. You can then go in with a little bit of liquid liner, but I'm just looking for my buffer. But the key is to keep it all on the outside and just pushing in there. Really don't bother going in with a heavy crease because you're just really not going to see it. And I feel that when people go in for that sort of heavy half moon area to their eye, once you don't see it, but two, it gets too dark. And the juxtaposition between the light part of your brow and the dark part of your pretend socket is too much. So it needs to be softer. So just keep that in mind. So blending those together, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Great. Now someone's cutting their head down. Oh well, hopefully it won't pick up too much. Lovely, so I'm going to go even stronger. You will get used to doing this really quickly and efficiently, especially when you know when it works. I really wish I'd done this in another colour, sorry guys. It would have been a little bit more interesting aesthetically. But I think you're going to get the point of what I'm saying. It's all on this outer area and just underneath. Now, if I wanted more drama, I would use the darker shade underneath the lower lashes, just literally over the colour that I've already done. I don't want to go too heavy. You can see how much bigger that eye looks already. Isn't it just wonderful? You know, I just love the way that makeup can transform our faces and create that sort of illusion. We're fortunate enough to do that, actually. I always felt when I had bad skin, actually, that I was like, oh, thank God I'm a girl, because the poor lads, they can't put all the foundation and concealer on like I used to pile on, and, you know, a nice sort of glossy lip and lots of eyelashes to try and distract from my skin. In fact, I remember you saying that, oh no, I don't have acne, I'm just allergic to strawberries. I mean, somehow that made it acceptable for me to go out, which is, I know it's so ridiculous, but yeah, so long as it wasn't spots, it was all right. Now I'm looking for my nice light pencil. I'm not going to go in dark. I know I have big eyes, I can definitely take that off, but I just want to enhance. If you're struggling with small hooded eyes, that's the biggest challenge. Small eyes that are hooded, because you sort of become overwhelmed by this part of your eye. It becomes too obvious, too bright. So brow and liner or soft shadow underneath are your main tools to open out your eyes, and concealer, just making sure there's no darkness underneath the eye. It makes such a difference. Let me put some mascara on first and I'll show you another little trick that is also quite nice. Let's go in for the curl. You'll probably notice that I very rarely curl my eyelashes. I'm just fortunate. I just have long lashes that with a bit of mascara do tend to bend around. I have clients that are obsessed with eyelash curlers and always have to have them. I'm just simply bloody lazy, to be honest. And fortunately, it's one thing that I can skip out of the many rituals that I have to do to make myself look half decent. Right, going back in with a waterproof mascara, really wedging the product. So nice, look, so lovely and soft. If you love a soft, fluffy lash, you're literally going to love Divine Lashes by Max Factor. It's because there are so many densely twisted bristles in this mascara that you manage to get it all over your lid, like I do. Let me just tidy that up. 1 second, viewer. And luckily enough, because I've got that eyeshadow on there, it's quite easy for me to tidy up. I'll go back and do that in a second. Great, so that's sort of like, you know, 3 coats. And again, underneath. And once you've gone backwards and forwards with the mascara, always pull the lashes down so you're really getting the extension, because that's what I'm trying for you to achieve. So slightly different in intensities, day, night, or night and day, or day and night, whatever you want to do. We don't need to be that restrictive and kind of sort of formulaic with our makeup. Now, if you want to wear a full-on eye in the day, good for you. So the palettes you need to be looking for, I'm sure you've all got them at home. This is a new one by Anastasia Beverly Hills, Rather Delicious. But just make sure you've got, depending on your skin tone, but look here, I can work with all skin tones with these shades because I've got the really light, bony shaping colours. Then I've got the darker ones for the more intense. Then I've got the beautiful decorative colours. So that's a lovely one. I'll use that in a sec, actually. And then this is an oldie, but a favourite. It's After Hours by Stila. Again, some really lovely, fun, decorative colours. Now, you might be saying, well, why are you showing us those colours when you've just really used these shades? Because depending on the shape of your eye and depending on what look you want to create, just because you can't always see your socket when you're looking directly at someone, what is a lovely way to kind of add a bit of brightness to a hooded shaped eye is a little bit of soft metallic right across the lid where you have done the lighter shade. So let's do a little bit of rose pink, shall we? This is the nice one here because that's quite nice against this top. So I've got the same brush. Now it's coming up quite pinky. That's not light enough. Can you see? That's not going to give me the brightness. I need the light and the bright. Let me see what Fairy does. No, that's too gold. This is a very warm palette, which you can see from the tones. So because I'm adding brightness and because I'm paler, even though I'm a little bit warmer in my compared to my winter skin, this is not going to give me the brightness I need. It's actually quite good, isn't it, when I'm completely unprepared and I just go for it, because then I can kind of explain errors. So let's go back to Stila, because Stila has the beautiful bright champagne-y colour that I need for my skin. If I was more olivey, I could go for the kind of warmer colours because they would work brighter against my skin. So let me just, I'll try this one, my finger first, and just put it on there. That's lovely and bright, and that's lovely and bright. So I'm going to go for the super sparkly one here and apply that to my lid. So let's push that into my brush. Now I've put that onto my brush, but because it is slightly metallic, beware, right? Beware that it doesn't fall down onto your face. So if you condense the product, oh, it's lovely, isn't it? If you condense the product into the brush, And then it's a little, oh, that's nice, isn't it? That's lovely, although I've overdone it as usual. I'll have to get another little brush to tidy that up. Maybe just my finger, there we are. Just over the waterline, sorry, just over the tear duct is a lovely way to add brightness there. Absolutely lovely. It's a little bit of a dot there that adds brightness, and then taking this over to the other side. And do not touch the metallic shade to the darker shade, because then you're just going to go into a middle ground that's not going to be effective. So I'm trusting you just to keep it on this inner corner. And if you're at all worried, just, you know, maybe kind of just save a few little millimeters away from it, because it will obviously have its own, excuse me, natural movement. Just for the purposes of this film, and for anyone who's coming in just a little bit later and thinking, my God, call herself a makeup artist, she's completely unbalanced, those eyes don't match. So let me just take this one a little bit darker so that we can match it up and finish with a final result. But I hope that has been really, really helpful. And I hope those tips of just sort of doing basically has given you a clear idea in your mind, even though I don't have hooded eyes, what you're trying to achieve and what you're going to do by adding a slightly darker shade just over this brighter area there is to knock back the brightness in the skin that is protruding forwards. And you could use that in a cream, you could use that in a sort of a MAC paint pot like groundwork, or obviously darker colours for you. But essentially, to really open out your eye when you've got a hooded eye is concealer, brightness here, darkness on the outside, not too much of a heavy cut crease or defined socket, however you want to describe it, and a flash of brightness just over this area, especially, you know, if you're going out or you want, you know, something a little bit different. As you are talking and expressing yourself, a little flash of light. You won't see it necessarily when you look straight in the mirror, but as you're talking, people will be able to catch the light from that area, and that looks really pretty. So I think I'm balanced enough, and I hope that you've got lots of tips, and I look forward to seeing what you say down below. Always nice to get your feedback. Love all your comments. I try to reply to as many as I can, but I definitely always do scroll down. So thank you very much for being fab subscribers, and let's start doing some bloody sun dances, because we need to feel like it's summer. Well, we definitely need to feel like it's summer in England. I know you're blessed with that sunshine. I know it's there under the clouds somewhere in some countries, but it's definitely not in London. Anyway, much love to you all. Bye for now.